Okay, so here it is. Welcome to the Happy Naked podcast. This is Dee, the founder of Dee Health and Fitness and the author of the book Happy Naked. I'm a personal trainer, energy worker, healer, and I also have a degree in computers, believe it or not. My mission is sharing the naked truth through taboo conversations that will allow you to elevate your sex life, relationships, intimacy, health, and fitness. So please follow me on all my social media. You will find me on Instagram as dmago_happy naked. You will find me on Facebook. My page is called Happy Naked. And when you're looking at the fitness part of it, you will find me as Naked Fit as well. So let's jump into the topic today, which is about divorce. So divorce, it's a very, very interesting topic and it's taboo. We don't have the tendency to share for cultural reasons or simply because of shame. So and I have a disclaimer for this because every story have two sides. Yes. So we are sharing our side of the story right now. Right? And I gotta say, you know what? What's happening on the other side, it is their story. We're not blaming anybody. We're not justifying anyone. We're just sharing what is in our heart today. And it's our side of the story. It is as simple as that. So, and I want to share quickly about my personal story. So I got married in December 2000. And I really got separated on, it was July 2012. At that point, I already have 3 kids and all that kind of stuff. They were very little. Now they're 18, 15, and 13. And I have been separated for 8 years and divorced for 4 years already. So it was a long journey until we got divorced, but it's fine. Okay, and I will share my personal story later on. So today I have as my beautiful guest, my friend, Shannon Berry. We've known each other for a very long time. And I also, in here, I want to bring my people, okay? The people that it's normal. No, we're not surrounded by celebrities or like, it's normal people. The world is surrounded by each one of us and we all have a story. And today the story is about, divorce. Everybody out there that is listening to this, please share with us. What are your comments? What's your experience? And I'm going to say this, if you really need support, reach out. I'm here to help you and support you in any way possible. And I have amazing resources around me. So welcome, Shannon. Thank you very much for saying yes to this.
Oh, no, thank you, Dee. It's, mine's a little bit more recent. So it's nice to find a forum where I can safely share and help get some stuff out, maybe help some other people deal with whatever they're going through. So thank you.
Exactly. So, I want to share with us. So first of all, okay, 2 simple questions.
Okay.
Where are you from? And where do you live now? If it's different from your place of birth or,
Well, I mean, I'm from Alberta, but I was actually born in Calgary and I now live in Edmonton.
Oh, that's funny.
So not too much of a, not too much of a distance.
How long have you been in Edmonton for?
Oh my goodness, without dating myself. We moved back into the Edmonton area when I was, I don't know, maybe 12-ish. So just like grade 6.
Wow.
So it's still elementary school. So it's been a long time. Yeah.
Wow. So Edmonton is your home, basically.
No, Calgary. So I still have a heart for Calgary. It's my place. Yeah, it's it's funny because it's two cities, like it was 300 kilometers apart inside the same province, but they're still so different and still have such different personalities. And I think your hometown has always kind of got a piece of your heart, right?
Yeah, totally. So let's jump into this. I want to, so tell us about, first of all, how long were you married? And
Ugh.
yes, when you know, did you like divorce and or separate? Because as I said, I have been
Mhm.
separated for 8 years, and my divorce only, you know, happened 4 years
Before.
ago. And
Yeah.
so every situation is different. So how it's been for you?
Oh, okay, let me see. So, I know this is really bad. So I'm the one that's bad with the numbers and remembering dates and stuff. So I always base my oldest daughter's age minus 1 year because she was our flower girl. So, separated probably about 3 years ago. So, would have been married for about 21 years. 21,
Oh
22
wow,
years.
that's a
Yeah.
long time. That's a very, very
Yeah,
long
tell
time.
me.
Yeah, I was only I was only married for 12, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay. So tell me, there is when we look at making the decision to split, whether it's for good
Hmm.
or for a break, because it also happens when you realize that, you know, there is potential in that relationship, and then the break, it really does its job. And what do you think it was the trigger for you that says, you know what, this is it, I cannot keep moving forward in this relationship? But it's just always a trigger.
Oh yeah, definitely. So we kind of whipped the dead horse. So we did the stay apart, like let's take some time apart, let's do, all this stuff. But honestly, for me, what really, really finished it for me was I don't know where it came from. I don't want to go making personality judgment calls and stuff like that, but um I started getting accused of infidelity. Um, we would go out to events and stuff like that, and we would come home and he'd be super quiet, and I had a good time. I thought everything was okay. And then we'd get home, we'd be in the privacy of our room, and he would just kind of, I don't want to say unleash, because he wasn't like a loud person or an aggressive person in that manner, but verbally he would unleash things on me, and making things my responsibility that weren't. Like if he had heard a guy say something inappropriate about me, or even a compliment, like compliment me, somehow that had become my fault and my responsibility, because I must have been putting out the message that I was open to that. I was okay with that. He started to critique what I was wearing. He started to critique where I was going, who I was going with, texting and calling incessantly, even though he knew I had meetings all day long, trying to, because I'm an entrepreneur. So, so building businesses and doing meetings. And unfortunately, a lot of other entrepreneurs tend to be men, so I would be going out doing meetings with men, and he would be calling and texting incessantly, even to the point where I found out afterwards, my kids expressed to me that he had actually even told them that me being an entrepreneur and trying to be in business for myself was actually being selfish and was taking away from the family, when in fact I had actually decided to go into business for myself because, well, number one, it suited my personality, and number two, it gave me the flexibility of being able to be there for my family, not needing the childcare and that, because if I had a meeting, it wasn't dependent upon my boss. If something tragic, something happened at school or whatever, I could reschedule the meeting and still be there for my family. So yeah, that was definitely, I'm a very free-spirited person. I'm not a jealous personality at all. So to have that coming at me felt super oppressive. And I don't take responsibility for things that aren't my responsibility. I couldn't cope under those
So
conditions.
how long it took you to say, I'm not happy with this situation? Because I think people are who they are
Hmm.
unless that they take the proper steps
Yeah.
to get better. And it goes with personal growth. It goes with childhood experiences or
Hmm.
trauma. We
Which
all
we
have
both
that.
had a lot of. Yeah.
We all have that. So
Yeah.
nobody's safe from it.
No.
However, there's I would say there's one day that you probably say, this is it. And sometimes it is that he poured water in a way that you didn't like it. You know, sometimes it's
No,
something stupid
no,
as
mine
that.
was actually much bigger than that.
Mm-hmm.
Much bigger than that. Um, So I just want to put out my own disclaimer first. I am sharing these experiences from my perspective. I've never gone out of my way to bash my ex. I have never gone out of my way to interfere in his relationship with his children because he is still their dad. End of story. And if anybody were to try to get in the way of those relationships, I would be there in a second because they need their dad as much as they need their mom. I'm not sharing any of this to make him look bad. I'm not sharing any of this to bash him or to, for anybody who might know who he is, to go back to him or to start attacking him. Leave him alone, please. He's still the children of my father. The father of my children. That said, no, the incident that happened that made me acutely aware that this was over and done. So he and I had opened a liquor importing agency together. We took a trip to Calgary for a meeting to try and get our product into an online ordering service. Now, Dee, you will remember this because I think you knew me even back then, but I had that beautiful BMW M6, my performance sports car. Coupe, people, coupe, it was beautiful. But anyway, I don't own it anymore, obviously, but everybody who, let me just put it in perspective. I loved that car. A nice sounding engine will get me going faster than any man. I loved that car. I would rather have lived in that. If it came down to if I needed a nice house or that car to live in, I would have lived in that car. I loved that car. I am a car person. I was raised in car culture. I will take the car any day. So putting that in perspective. For the entire trip to Calgary, because, you know, I was driving, it was my car. The conversation was for 2.5 hours, because it took some time to build into it. An incessant barrage of accusations of trying to force me into admitting something that I was not participating in. I literally felt like I was being held hostage in my own car, and I had no way out. I was driving, it was my vehicle, and it was, oh my gosh, it was gross. That's all I can say. It was disgusting. And I'm pretty sure now, knowing the things that I do about things that happened after that, he was already in a relationship himself at that point in time and was just trying to pin it on me, you know, that projection thing, right? But I didn't know that. I didn't have any insight to that because I'm not a jealous person. I let people live their lives and whatever happens, happens. So, but that is just an inclination. It's not a full-on accusation and I have no evidence. So please, again, leave him alone. The whole way there. And at first I thought he was just kind of joking around. I took it kind of lightly and I was trying to laugh it off and everything. And then it just got more and more penetrating and more. By the time we got to Calgary, I was exhausted. Yes. He had come at me so hard trying to get me to confess what I had nothing to confess. So we pull into the parking lot. I take 10 deep breaths. We go in, we do the meeting. Because I mean, like, I'm the presenter. I've just gone through 2.5 hours of this, and now I still have to pitch my business and try and make a deal, right? We walk out of there, we go across, we have lunch at this cute little place. I wish I could remember the name, a little Hungarian deli bistro thing. A totally normal conversation. So I'm thinking, okay, we're done this. We're over it. We can move past it. Okay, few deep breath, recover, because I've got to drive home. We get into the car, half an hour basically into the trip, and he starts at it again. It got so bad, I actually threatened to put my car in the ditch. I told him if he didn't lay off of me, if he didn't back off, I was going to take that car, I was going to pin it. And that thing had 500 horsepower. Like, I know it would do close to 300 kilometers an hour if I had have pinned it. And I was going to pin it and put it in the ditch and take us both out if he did not lay off of me. And that was my baby. Like, and I threatened to ruin my car. You know, like, I mean, I even named it baby. It was my baby. but I was so desperate to just have him stop that I actually threatened to harm us and my car to make him stop. And then of course we get all the way home and we come through the house, come through the door, and we have to act like everything's normal. Well, of course, to him, he felt vindicated. I guess I don't know what he felt, but it didn't seem to be an issue for him. But I had to walk through that door and look at my children and be mom and be normal with all of this, the weight of what had happened in this like 6 hours, you know, or 5 hours, whatever drive. And it was at that moment I knew, like, there's something way deeper, way bigger going on here that I can't fix. We've tried counseling, we've tried everything, and we're still here. And this still just happened. And I knew, like, we weren't fixing it. It wasn't going to happen. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. So basically, do you call the separation?
I did. We had a little bit of a bizarre circumstance because his dad, unexpectedly to us anyway, passed away while we were in the process of trying to figure out the separation.
Yep.
So we actually paused the separation so that I could still be there to support him and help him through. And fortunately, I had also been the one basically in charge of burying his mom a few years prior. Like, he's been through hell too. Like, sorry, I shouldn't probably say, but it was just 3 years of family pain, right? Yeah, like grandmother died, then 39 hours later, mom died, then 3 years later, dad died. And then I had one of my best friends pass away from ALS, and just one thing after the other. So, so fortunately, while he was in Ontario burying his grandmother, I was here planning his mother's funeral, because they had died like 40 hours apart from, like 39 hours apart from each other. So I had made sure that everything for his dad had been prearranged while we were arranging his mother's. And thank goodness, because 3 years later, we're unexpectedly burying his dad. So we paused the separation at that point in time so that we could get through that. Yeah. We went on a family vacation in 2018. We rang in New Year's in Costa Rica. And we made it look really good on Facebook. Everybody thought we were together, but in fact, we had already basically separated by that point in time. He stayed in a room with my son, and I stayed in a room with my one daughter that was able to attend with us. And we spent 7 days in Costa Rica in separate quarters with our children. Yeah.
Wow. Well, you know, it's funny that you're saying that, because I come from divorced parents as well. Mm-hmm. And then my dad got married again. I was quite young when he married my stepmom, and it was years that they were sharing the same house, just because
but separately,
you know, separate rooms. They were completely not in a relationship.
I know.
And they were like that for a while. I don't really know the details of how long they were like that, but they basically show it as everything was fine. I don't fully agree with that, but every circumstance, and you do what you need to do.
Well, you know, and the thing is too, is a lot of times we make decisions based on, because I have 3 children, right? So we make decisions based on what we think is best for the children. And we wanted to set a great example for our children. We didn't want to just be those parents that just gave up, walked away. You know, like, people are imperfect. Relationships are imperfect. You don't just give up because it's not perfect. Because if that were the case, you should never get into it in the first place. It's never going to be perfect. So you don't just give up. So we did counseling. We did time apart. We tried so many different things, and just for lack of whatever, you know, buy-in on or whoever's perspective in that, it never connected. But we did it all because we wanted to set a good example for the kids.
I lost your voice. Why?
Oh no, what?
I'm losing your voice. Is it? Oh, there you go.
Me?
I got you back. Yeah. I got you back.
Okay. So anyway, we did everything that we did because we thought, we want to set a good example for the kids. And if the kids don't have to be, you know, have their family life torn up, then why do that to them? But sometimes our best intentions are the wrong intentions, because my kids, unfortunately, they're older. Like, my oldest is 25, then I've got an 18-year-old and a 16-year-old, right? After we separated and we're starting to go through the divorce proceedings, even before the divorce was final, two of my children came to me and they were like, finally. And I was like, what do you mean? They're like, we have no idea why you guys held on so long. Like, we could, everybody knew it was, you weren't going to fix it. Like, you know, for 5 years, we went through process after process of trying to fix it. And then, you know, for the kids. And then in the end, the kids actually were the ones who came to us and said, oh, thank goodness you finally got that looked after, because like that was torturous to watch. And we're like, oh, so we didn't actually do you any favors? They're like, no, like we knew it was coming to an end. We knew it wasn't going to work out. Like, we couldn't figure out why you guys were taking your time, like why you were taking so long to get it looked after.
Wow.
So we were like, wow, wish you had told us that 5 years ago. But of course, that's not a conversation a child is going to be open, you know, no matter how old they are. They're not going to just walk up to you and go, so when are you and dad divorcing? Right?
Yeah,
it's just not a conversation that's going to happen.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. So what are the things that you think you have to adjust after, you know, being separated and going through the divorce that that have been massive for you? Because you mentioned that you were married for 21, almost 21 years, or about 21 years.
Oh, well, yeah, somewhere around there.
Which is a long time, no matter what. Even if it was 18 or 25 years, it's still a long time.
Yeah.
So it, and what I'm looking to, because I think it was a big deal for me as well. So we're looking at being with an individual in a family setup or a community setup, or like you're basically dealing with other individuals.
Yeah.
And you really, and having that lifestyle means that we really, whether we have to make decisions, whether we compromise or we negotiate things, because it's part of it. It's part of being in, not only in a family group, but it's also in a relationship or in business. We always gotta negotiate or compromise, depends on what we choose.
Yes.
So that being said, when you leave your relationship, you know it's done, okay? So then what are the things that you think you started adjusting after that? Because at this point, you're on your own, whether you were hoping for a fix or not, but you're alone at this point. Now you need to adjust your life completely. So what are the things that you did?
Oh my gosh, what are some of the things I did? Well, for the first time in a long time, I actually took a job because I needed the security of knowing that, at least I thought I needed the security of knowing that I was going to have that income. In the end, it turned out to be one of the worst decisions I made. I should have continued to focus on my business and build my business, because then I'd be in a much better situation now. But it was something that I really thought was fun and exciting, and that and it just ended badly again. But so I did that. The number one thing I did do that, again, I would recommend not doing was making big decisions. Keep your life as simple as you possibly can and avoid any big, huge decisions. Of course, you need a place to live, right? But keep the budget low and just find something that's suitable for now. If you have, you know, because you're just not in the right frame of mind. And especially with me, like I said, having coming out of, 4 deaths in 5 years and all this other stuff. And then I wound up having to sell my baby, my car, right? And then I had to, so buying a new car, and bad decision again. I'm such a car person. Made a bad decision, bad. But yeah, I think the one thing that, you need to keep your life simple. Like, even if you feel fine, even if you're telling the world, oh, I'm fine, I got this, it's whatever, I'm happy, even if you're having the divorce party or whatever that looks like for you, the simple fact of the matter is that the human mind only has a capacity to deal with so much at one time. Yeah. And even if you think you feel fine, you know what? Give it 3 months still. Yeah. Like, keep your life as simple as you can. If you don't think you can afford a lawyer, get one anyway. I didn't get a lawyer, I got hooped. So I walked away from my 21-year marriage with $30,000 and a BMW that I couldn't afford to keep. I mean, the oil changes were $250. So, yeah. But I think that was the biggest adjustment, was because I was used to a certain lifestyle, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And I continued to try and make decisions based on the lifestyle I was used to having, and not the lifestyle that was my reality.
Mm.
And I think if I had have just slowed it down and simplified where I was at, and thought a little bit more about what I actually needed, I would have made way better decisions
Wow.
than I did. Yeah.
Did you ask for help? Did you ask for support when you already knew this is what I'm heading, this is separation, this is divorce? Did you scream for help?
No. I mean, even, yeah, no, I didn't. I knew my ex, like, he had gone out of his way to make sure that I was cut off and severed as quickly and as thoroughly as possible. So I did actually have a friend who was a lawyer sign the divorce papers for me, even though I knew I shouldn't be signing what I was agreeing to. But I did it just to get it done with, because I didn't want to be fighting in front of the kids, right? So I really don't have like a huge support network.
Hmm.
And I'm estranged even like from my family. And I know a lot of you can go, well, this woman's just got nothing but relationship issues. Well, the reason I'm estranged from my family is because they're racist, misogynistic, backwater Albertans, and they don't align with my values at all, despite the fact that they're the ones that raised me. So I just chose to take that negativity out of my world. But no, I didn't. I still, to this day, I'm not even sure of what resources there might be. I've just always kind of felt like I've been on my own.
Wow.
And so I just have always relied on myself to get things done. And maybe that's not smart. Maybe that's ego-based. I don't know. There's so many arguments that can be made for or against it, but that's just who I am, I guess.
Yeah,
So.
no, that's interesting, because I know you're not the only one in that position, and that's why I'm asking. Because I think no matter what, it's and this is my personal opinion. When we're looking at going through situations like that, we definitely, and I was quite lucky, because I had some few friends, because when you like that, my experience and what I have seen so far, when you go through separation or divorce, then you see who your true friends are. That was my experience, and everybody I talked to, that's what happens. So the true friends show up. It turned out that I was with, like my best friend, who was my best friend still, that he was my friend. He wasn't the friends of the two of us. And out of all the friends that I had, my ex and I had in common, it turned out that I end up with probably one. The rest, they all turned their backs on me, which is fine. Well, no, I'm lying. Not one. They were kind of, I count with one hand, honestly. Just
Yeah,
the people that
for sure.
actually stay strong, they stay neutral.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, I'm your friend, I'm his friend, and whatever your decision is, I'm fine with that, because I am your friend.
Yeah, that doesn't happen.
Yeah, so that was my experience. So in that sense, I had a good support, even though that is still quite challenging for me, because I was like, wow, I had a house full of people, and then now I'm separated, and not everybody's judging me, and then they poof, and they talking about me to him. I was lucky enough that he will make clear that he would not allow anybody to talk shit about me, because at the end of the day, and you said that earlier, I was the mom of his kids. And there has to be a level of respect in that,
Yes.
and it goes with boundaries as well.
Exactly.
So
And my kids are, sorry.
yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, my kids are fortunately old enough too, where they know how to set their own boundaries. So when they have an issue with their dad, or they're having a relationship issue with them, they know how to deal with that themselves. And my kids are not shy. They will get it. They will deal with it. So, you know, there's just absolutely no reason for anybody to be interfering in that.
So what is the biggest learning out of this whole thing? We're looking at, you know, years of being married, now being like separate, going through everything, because you mentioned key things when we're looking at divorce, and we'll go through that. So we're looking at financial security. So you mentioned that that was key. Whether, you know, as you said, whether you make the right decision or not, that's what we're all looking for. After going through that change. There was other thing that you mentioned, that it's the lifestyle. That was very, very interesting, because you're saying that in your case, you were looking to keep up with the lifestyle, and probably it wasn't the right thing for you at that point. But we all fall into that trap, by the way. You're not like, I hear that a lot, because we all are looking for the number one, financial security. Of course, having a place to live, which is part of our basic needs, is just money and shelter, because we also need money for shelter and food.
Yep.
So all the basic needs, all through financial security. And then, of course, then which fall into the second level, which is our lifestyle, right? Like because at that point, our lifestyle is not necessarily a priority, but the financial security to provide shelter and food, it is our part of our basic needs. And, but we're still trying to keep up with our lifestyle and whatever that was look like. And that's, you know, that's kind of interesting. And I can see a lot of learning and that in your own experience. I wonder, what have you seen as a learning out of all this journey for, you know, the last 25 years that you've gone through, right?
The learning, oh my goodness. Compromise is something that is inherent in relationships, but when the relationship causes you to compromise who you are as a person, it's not the right relationship. And I think he and I both learned that, because we were such probably a mismatched couple, that I'm positive that he sits back now and goes like, I can't believe that, you know, I did that for her, you know, and just like I sit back and go, I can't believe I put up with that, you know, whatever that is. And now seeing him in a new relationship and seeing what he's doing for his new girlfriend, and I'm just sitting back going, he would have never done that for me, you know.
What made you fall in love with him in first place?
Okay, another disclaimer. See, he kind of had a mark against him when it came to me in the first place. He and I both have massive childhood trauma. He was raised by an alcoholic. I was raised by batshit crazy people. And unfortunately that crazy turns out to be a genetic mental disorder that I have received the gift of, I guess you could call it. I don't really attach emotionally very easily. So for me so that's the disclaimer, because in all honesty, I cannot tell you, I do not know for sure if I ever actually was in love with him.
That makes sense. That completely makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And it's also why, you know, being for all these years in a relationship, it is you're just there, right?
Yeah. See, I've always looked at it as we need to be a partnership. I've never looked at it as like in that traditional romantic relationship. You know, I'm the person that was always encouraging him to go back to school, or to find new opportunities, or to do investments, like build for the future, you know. I mean, of course, yeah, I like companionship and I do like to spend time with people, but I just don't think that when it comes to like that romantic, intimate type
Yeah,
relationship that I do it like 90% of the population does
yeah,
it
yeah,
or
yeah,
expects it to be done.
yeah.
So it's nothing against him because it's not a deficiency on his part. I just don't know that I ever connected with him that
Correct.
way. Um, like I said, our oldest child was the flower girl at our wedding, and
Mm.
we never even had an actual official proposal between him and I. We literally, like, she's always been a little bit of a diva. She's my drama girl, but I love her. But even as a baby, you know, you had to take her for drives to put her to sleep. You know, you had to, all attention, all focus on me, please. And one night we were out driving around and we'd been living together for about a year because we thought, well, you know what, let's live together. Because we were so naive. We actually thought that living together would give us a good idea of what marriage would be like,
Mhm.
which is so, so far from the truth. It's not even funny.
Time
Um,
tells, in my opinion, more than living
Oh,
together.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So anyway, we're out driving around and we're like, and he looks over at me and he says, so how do you think things are going? And I'm like, yeah, well, we're making a go of it. It seems like it's okay. We're not like fighting. We're getting along, blah, blah, blah. So this is how we have this little conversation like this. And at the conclusion of the conversation, it was, well, should we call the family tomorrow then and let them know that we're going to make it official? And I was like, yeah, okay, let's do that. And that's literally how we decided to get married.
Yeah, yeah, no, and it's and this, I don't think there's nothing wrong because you share something really, really key, and all the years I known you so far, I can tell how much you has grown already emotionally.
Oh, that's
Um,
good.
I I'm guessing when I met you, you were in the middle of that storm,
Yeah,
and you
yeah,
could, and I at that point I could see that you were on that storm, and you just figuring out every day how to deal with your own self, how to deal with everything, of course. And I didn't know what you were going through, but I could see from the outside that there was something happening.
yeah,
I
exactly. Yeah.
and how do I know this? This is something that I think it's a gift that I have. I can see things sometimes in people based on their behavior, and but I could see there was like that your emotions were completely. I would say your life was a storm, and I could see your emotions were stormy as well.
Yeah, yeah, I
So
was I was not very balanced at that point when you first met me.
and I can tell, like I could see that back in the day. So let's get into the final and closing here, okay? I'm gonna share
Okay.
something which is my personal opinion in my experience and what I have seen with all my friends that are going through separation or divorce. And in my opinion, what I think is every relationship can be saved as long as there is not whether it's like emotional violence or there's a name for that and I completely forgot, and or physical violence, because
Hmm.
that and there's another thing, it's addiction. Okay, because those are aspects that they really really can destroy absolutely anything. And I have been mentioning boundaries a couple of times, and it is because when we get in a situation like there's a level of violence, and the work that it needs to be done, it is completely different. Okay, so we're looking at something that it might not be in our capacity to deal with somebody like that, which I have seen cases where they basically overcome, they they do the work. And I heard a story recently. The
Wow.
husband was very violent. They did the work, and they find out that the husband was bipolar, and they're happy now. But I
That's
think it's
good.
only one out of so many. So I think is for me, it's all about every relationship need to work. I don't agree with the 50-50. We give 50. We need to give our 100%. And if we don't give our 100%, we're not gonna get 100%. So, and in my experience, I know my marriage could have been saved. I know that, in fact, it is too late by now. People ask me why you don't go back with him. It's too late. If in the moment that I don't feel that I want to have sex with him, I know the relationship is over. That's how I see it. Okay? Because it's how intimate I really desired. And if I don't have that desired, I know that relationship is over. So and that's why I don't go back. I don't have that desired anymore. And but I definitely think that every marriage in some ways can be saved. What do you think about my opinion?
You're right, but I think and again, you're right. It's both people giving 100%. Where we fall apart is when one side isn't willing to give the 100% or isn't even willing to give at all, right? Because you can't save something that has two entities involved in it when only one wants it to be saved.
Yeah.
Right? If you're not willing to, if you're not committed, if both parties are not committed to fixing it and making it work, then you're fighting a losing battle. But if both people are on board and really want that to happen, then yes, I agree with you 100%. Outside of, like you said, the gaslighting and the physical stuff. Right?
All that stuff. Yeah. So so there are a few things I want to highlight after our conversation today. It's all about financial security. Yes. That is big, right? Getting very clear with our lifestyle. What is the lifestyle that we can afford, and the lifestyle that we want, and what are our needs? You mentioned that as well. And there is something key about learning whether I think it goes with when we compromise, but we don't know our boundaries. That is, that's a key there. It's about learning. And sometimes when we get married very young, we don't know any of that stuff. And nobody teaches us that, by the way. No matter how good our parents are, nobody taught us that. I think now as new parents, we're learning, and I know a lot of us, like your generation, my generation, that we're very close, we're doing our best to teach our kids boundaries, right? Speak their minds, speak what they want and they need.
Yes,
and
for sure.
And another key, and that applies to everything in life, is commitment, right? Like whether we're committed, to the relationship or to the family, like is that, and I'm going to say this, do we have that true desire to be committed? Because it's not only I'm committed just for the benefit of somebody else. You're truly committed because it's your desire. It is coming from your heart, not to please somebody else, right?
Yeah.
So what are your last thoughts? What would you advise people out there that whether taking consideration getting divorced or through going through separation and are already on the other side of the fence? What's your advice?
Okay, my advice. Being somebody, I'm not looking for another relationship, but I have a lot of girlfriends who are on this side of things and are looking for relationships actively. I know a lot of young people who are like, looking toward the future and what that's going to look like for them relationship wise. There's one thing that I have come to realize, and I use this in both my business and in my personal life. So whether it be friendships or whatever, you cannot go into any kind of a relationship expecting the other person to complete you. Make sure you are complete, that you're okay being with yourself first, and that you can be comfortable in that space. Because it's selfish of us to expect another person to be able to fill a gap in our lives that they were never meant to fill. And if somebody else is coming to us and they have that expectation, they're not the right person to have in your life either. Relationships should be based on, I want you, I choose you to be in this position, in this role in my life, and I need you to choose me. I need you to have me in your life because you choose me, not because I'm going to fulfill something for you, not because you can get something out of me, not because I'm going to, you know, fill that gap or whatever, and vice versa. You know, I mean, we're never going to be perfect as people. We're always going to have areas where we have deficiency, you know, and that sort of thing. So it's not about, you know, making sure that you're a perfect, whole, complete person. It's about being content, knowing who you are and being content with where you are in life, and knowing that you as a human being, if you can't fill the gap, no other human being can either. And you have to be content with that and do the work to fill that yourself. And you have to be happy and whole with yourself and in that knowledge. And only then can you consider yourself healthy enough to be looking for the relationships you choose to have in your world.
That is big. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I'm gonna start closing here. And I want to share with all of you that watch or listening to this, that I have a gift for you. So if you go to my page, thehealthandfitness.com /resources, then you can join my newsletter and you can get a tracking journal, which is pretty much aligned with a lot of things that we talk about. It's weird. It's about connecting with our senses. It is connecting, you know, with your body. And sometimes we don't even get the chance to do that. And I'll also invite you to visit me at my website, also thehealthandfitness.com. You can also find me at happynaked.online. And then you mentioned, Shannon mentioned a few times that she has a business, and I'm going to get all the information from her, and I will be sharing that as well. So if you want to connect with Shannon, please do. And I just find out more about what she does and how she can support your community. Yes. Because the work that she does, she was explaining me before we connected here online, and the work that she's currently doing, it is pretty cool, and she can support the community. So I'm going to gather all that stuff. I'm going to be sharing all this information with you guys as well, so you get to know her also in a different, it's her other face, right? Because it's we're a community, we're supporting each other. We don't live in the same city. However, we have so many gifts that we had in our heart, and it's all about giving that back to our community. I'm getting goosebumps as I'm saying this, and because we all have gifts. It's whether we step into that and that we are at service to the community. Of course, we all have to make a living. We all have to have financial security, but at the end of the day, we are here at service. And the beauty of being human beings is that when we are at service, because whether you're stepping in your gift and you are following your passion and living on purpose, that is the nature of a human being. That's when we elevate our vibration, we elevate our energy, because we're living on purpose. And when we all start living on purpose, that's going to change our planet big time. Big time, because these days more than ever we need to elevate our vibration, and one way to do that is to live on purpose, to step into a gift, be at service, and you know, of the community, of business, which is Shannon's case. She's at service of other businesses through her business, and but that's the idea, right? She has amazing gift that she has to offer, and that's the whole point. That's how we're gonna make this world a better world, not only by sharing this story that Shannon has shared with us today, and that it's, you know, I hope it changes life. I hope it changes your view when it comes to divorce, and what it is not greener on the other side. It's not. Okay, it comes with challenges, and it's as challenging to fix your relationship as to break your relationship. You really have to be very serious when you make that decision. And I always say, take your time. If you need a break, take a break. If that break looks like 3 months, a year, or 2, because if that's what you need to know that you can fix your relationship or there's no fix anymore, then that's the time that you need. But take your time. You know, Shannon said it very, very, very simple. Keep it simple. And sometimes we complicate our things, right? So thank you so much. Please keep following me and Shannon. I'm gonna keep sharing more stories. We're gonna keep having more taboo conversations because I'm seriously looking to elevate each one of you where you can have, you know, better intimate relationships, better relationship with your life, where you can enhance your health and age gracefully with an awesome sex life, of course. So have a wonderful day and thank you so much.